Good afternoon and welcome to Thinking Tuesday. Thank you for joining me here again today. And we are here on Tuesdays at noon for our regular weekly mental checkup. So thank you for joining me. Those who are joining me for the first time, welcome. And I hope that you will continue to follow us every Tuesday, either here live or on my YouTube channel, Cheryl Burton Thinking Tuesday. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I have a question for you today, and that is, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? We spend so much time waiting, and time is just passing, and we're missing great opportunities. So, as we're here today doing our weekly mental checkup, I want to ask you, what have you been thinking? What have you been thinking? Are you thinking things that's causing you to stall, to not move forward? Are you aware of where your thinking has taken you between yesterday and today, between last week and today when we met? What have you created or designed by your thinking? Because remember, we are what we think, and our lives is the sum total of all that we have thought. So we are creators of our lives based on the way we think and what we do, the actions that we take or don't take as a result of our thinking. All of our actions are the result of what we think and how we interpret what's coming to us. I'll just take a few moments to remind you of our motto. And our motto is, your mind is a garden, your thoughts are the seeds, and you can grow flowers or you can grow weeds. And I don't have to tell you that the flowers are the positive thoughts that we encourage you to have, the positive mindset, and the weeds are those negative thinking, the negative thoughts, the negative thinking patterns. So which ones would you prefer to cultivate? What are your thoughts? What have you been cultivating? What does your mental garden Look like? What does it look like? Is it blossoming or blooming with beautiful flowers? Or perhaps it doesn't, it does have a few weeds that you're not aware of, maybe. That's why we have to check our thinking regularly, because weeds do creep in. We don't necessarily deliberately and intentionally plant weeds, but they do creep in. How often are you tending your garden so that you can become aware of the weeds that are trying to creep in and take over your garden? Because that's what weeds do. Yes, and sometimes they're camouflaged as flowers, but a weed is a weed is a weed. So we have to be very vigilant about what we allow to flourish in flower. Oh, I'm getting my tongue twisted today. We have to be very vigilant about what we allow to flourish in our mental garden. That's our task. It's our mind, it's our mental garden. So we are responsible for what grows there intentionally or unintentionally. Is your garden being overcome by weeds that's so that it's hard or difficult for the flowers? Those positive thoughts that you're trying to develop, that you've planted, are they trying to bloom under the weeds that's taken over your garden, your mind's garden? If so, well, it's time to begin to intentionally tend to your garden, intentionally tend to your thoughts, those that are coming in, those that you're allowing in, and some of those that are creeping in unconsciously, subconsciously. Summer might have just ended. We've been having a lot of rain, but summer might have just been ended, but there's still a lot of time to plant flowers, to cultivate flowers. I have some of my impatiens from the summer that's still very hardy and very sturdy, and they're doing very well. But in comes the mums, beautiful orange and yellow and red mums, you know. And sometimes you're I guess tempted to pull out those that were growing in the summer, even though they're still blooming. But no, leave them. Those are the beautiful thoughts that we want to keep in our garden, in our mind's garden. And we can also bring in new flowers. Those will be the mums that are flourishing for the fall. And they can coexist as long as they're beautiful, as long as they're uh, intentionally kept there, because they are the good thoughts, that's fine. What we want to be aware of, what we want to be on the alert for, are those weeds that's going to try to creep in and choke out those beautiful thoughts, those beautiful flowers that we're trying to cultivate. Like I said, I still have beautiful flowers in my garden, and I'm not going to root them out because they're what I intentionally planted. You know, they will not be dying anytime soon. But the beautiful mums that are populating the nursery right now, I would love to redesign my lawn, but I have to find a way to let them coexist, just like we try to keep those thoughts that we have that's working for us, that are still beautiful, that are still positive, while we keep our mind open, our mind, our garden, our mental garden open to new thoughts. Looking at those that are serving us and those that are not serving us, and making some decisions about rooting those out. You know, I love gardening, and because I can create my own designs and enjoy the beautiful scenery when I'm outside or from my window. So I liken my mind to a garden, and your mind is like a garden also. You can plant any thoughts that we choose and uproot any that I don't want or that you don't want, because our goal should be creating a positive mindset, cultivating those positive thoughts. So, what are you doing? What have you been doing to tend to your mind's garden? Have you been taking a break from that? Because even if you're not tending it, there are things growing in them. There are thoughts that are coming in every day. Are you examining your thoughts? Are you weeding out those that are not bringing you what you desire? Or are you just leaving the gate open for everything to come in? We have to be vigilant gardeners, all right? I was speaking to someone recently, and this is something that I hear in different forms from time to time, but more often than I would like to admit. But I was speaking to someone recently who was sharing a lot of regrets about things that they would have loved to have accomplished. This is not an old person by any stretch of the imagination, but as we discussed some of the reasons why they had not accomplished many of those things, there was always some perceived barrier that made them unattainable in that person's mind. Many of them were as a result of procrastination, like, oh, I have time, I can get to that, I can take care of that, I'll have time, I'll do it later. And then later receded further and further in the background until it was just so far behind that they couldn't even remember some of the things that they wanted to do, or they did not have the same importance, they did not have the same impact that they had earlier, and that's because of procrastination. Or they had to do something else before doing that. They had to prepare. That's what we call paralysis by analysis. You're always analyzing, well, I can't start now because I have to do this, and then there's always something else that you have to do. So finally I said, so what's stopping you from beginning now? You've given me all the reasons why you couldn't start before. So what's stopping you from beginning now, today? And they answer, well, I'm now in my sunset years, sunset years. And I said, what do you mean by that? Because that's what I do. I always ask questions. I want to understand what is being said. What do you mean by your sunset years? They were so hard pressed to give a cohesive and convincing explanation. What do you mean by you're in your sunset years? What does that have to do with your dreams and your goals? So see, we really allow ourselves or allow our thinking to get in the way of our progress. Does being in your sunset years mean that you just sit around and wait to die, you know, or just accept what life dishes out at you? So why are you giving up on yourself? Because that's what you're doing. You can always improve. We can always improve our quality of life. And it begins with the way we think. If we feel that when we reach a certain age, then we need to just lay back and take whatever is given to us. No, we can still be designing our lives. Yeah, you might even be retired. That's fine. You deserve it. You've worked many years. But does that mean that you just sit back and do nothing? No, that's not what retirement is about. Starting new chapters, having a new life, and whatever it is for you. But sunset years, even the sun sets and it rises again. So sunset years is what you make it. If you're saying that your sunset years are for you to stop thinking, stop dreaming, then you're really, really doing a disservice to yourself and others around you, because they can also be impacted by what you do and what you don't do. Because there's really no finish line to self-improvement and your personal growth. There's always something that we could be doing, that we should be doing to enhance our lives at the moment. And even if you're referring to those sunset years, like I said, even the sunset is not permanent. It rises the next day for a new experience. So, what new experiences are you opening yourself to? What are you telling yourself? Where are your thoughts taking you that would help you to decide, well, yes, this is my sunset years, if you want to call it, but sunset doesn't mean that the sun doesn't rise the following day, because it always does. Because one thing that I've really noticed that we often tend to adopt phrases and statements and use them without really examining them, examining what they mean and how they impact our behavior and our decisions. To just randomly say something because it's the trendy thing to say, because we've heard it, or because it means something special to us. No, examine what we're saying and how it's going to impact your behavior and your decisions. Think about what you have pushed aside, what you've been procrastinating to get done. Because we all procrastinate, but if we're aware that we are and we're doing something intentionally to stop the procrastination, then that's fine. Because we're all human. We're not perfect. What have you talked yourself out of because of the weeds that you're allowing to grow in your mind's garden? What are you talking yourself out of doing? Something that can really enhance your life, your quality of life, make you feel better about yourself. You know, keep your mind open to new adventures, new experiences, experiencing yourself differently, continuing to become that person that you would like to become. Yes, even in your sunset years, if that's what you want to call them, right? What dreams have you deferred, perhaps, or finally decided to let go? Because sometimes we've pushed our dreams so far back that we decide that, okay, I might as well let it go because I've wasted too much time. But what dreams have you deferred? or even decided to let go just because they now seem like pipe dreams because of your current circumstances. You're not defined by your current circumstances. Your thinking is what's going to define who you are and what you do. We can think our way out of our circumstances or acknowledge the circumstances, but don't be defined by them. So, what dreams, and I hope you do have them, what dreams do you still have that you are hesitating to pursue because you don't know how to move forward? Because sometimes that's the reality. Or maybe you're afraid to ask, or for whatever reason. But the important thing is that you would still have dreams. So, what dreams do you still have that you have hesitated to pursue because of your own thoughts, your own reasoning? I recently heard of a man named Dr. Howard Thurman. He was a mentor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and also an advisor to Mahatma Gandhi and some other great thought leaders. And he said the ideal situation for a man or a woman to die is to have family members standing around their bed, praying with them as they cross over. And then he went on to say that, but imagine being on your deathbed and standing around your bed are the dreams given to you by life, the ideas that you never acted upon, the talents and the gifts and the abilities that you never used. And there they are, standing around your bedside, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, "We came to you and only you could have given us life, but now we must die with you forever." Just picture that. Just picture that. I certainly don't want that to be my last experience. And I don't think you want that either. But if you don't act on your dreams, if you don't pursue your goals, if you don't examine your thinking to see how it is, where it is moving you, is it moving you forward or are they holding you backwards? You know, how are your thoughts impacting your decisions and your behavior? Make sure that you're tending your thoughts in your mind's garden so they can take you forward, so they can allow you to live a life that you won't regret, that you can attain your dreams and your goals. And yes, you will probably need some assistance along the way because many times our dreams and our goals are not met because we don't know how to. But if we're passionate enough, if we really feel that we are of value and we deserve to live our dreams, then we're going to use the resources that are made available to us. It doesn't matter how old you are. There's always someone that you can turn to. Someone who is walking that walk now or who has walked that walk. Never be ashamed to say you don't know. Because as the old phrase says, closed mouth don't get fed, right? So ask questions. That's the only way we learn. We don't know everything and we should not know everything. There's always room to grow, and we learn and we grow by asking questions, by stretching ourselves. I remind you again of the law of the rubber band. You know, we always should keep that tension between where we are and where we would like to be. Stretch ourselves so we can experience ourselves in different ways, so we can become who we need to become to attain those dreams that we want. So we're not fearful. I heard someone say, one of my mentors say, that There are no fearless people in the world because we all have fears, but there's some people who fear less. And we fear less, in my opinion, when we allow ourselves to be open to inquiry, to searching, to evaluation, looking for answers. Because as we gain knowledge, we're able to take action. But if we keep ourselves closed, if we allow ourselves to be controlled by negative thinking, self limiting, self defeating thinking, then we don't grow. And we end up like it's suggested by Dr. Thurman, that our dreams and our goals and our ideas are going to revisit us, and they won't be pleased with us because we did not give them life. So examine your thinking. Where is it taking you? Where has it taken you? And what are you willing to do to change? Because there's always room. And this is what I love. You know, until we die, there's always room to change, to make a U-turn, and that's when we grow. That's when we experience ourselves more fully. So I hope this has added value to you. I would encourage you to share it with someone who can benefit from it. As I always say, it will be stored with the rest of my Thinking Tuesday messages on my YouTube channel, which is Cheryl Burton Thinking Tuesday. I also invite you to visit my website, drcherylburton.com, to see the programs and services that I offer. So guard your garden, tend your mind's garden. Be intentional about what you allow to come into your space. And be willing to reject those thoughts and ideas that are not serving you well. As we go up, as we progress, we have to leave some things behind. Maybe they served us in the past. And sometimes we we refuse to throw away those things that don't fit anymore. I was thinking about myself just yesterday. I have some shoes that I haven't worn in a while, and I tried on a couple of them as I was cleaning out my closet, and some of them hurt. But I was thinking, but these shoes still look good. I still love these shoes, but they don't fit anymore. They don't fit anymore. They hurt. So if something is not serving you, if it's hurting you, even if it sounds good, and even if you do still have some affinity for it, if it is not serving you, if it is hurting you more than it's helping, then get rid of it. So think positively. Remember that you are the designer of your life, and you are going to harvest what you cultivate, and make sure they're positive thoughts, the beautiful flowers. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at noon for another message on Thinking Tuesday. So take care and bye for now.